It's 8 o'clock. This is the UK Tonight. The Epstein files. Surrey Police are investigating historic allegations of child sexual abuse. Also ahead tonight, could allegations of rape mean the end for Married at First Sight? We'll be hearing from a lawyer who's representing one of the women who came forward this week, who says the makers of the TV series failed to keep her safe. Plus, the mother of missing Ben Needham gives us her reaction to the news that South Yorkshire Police will no longer investigate his disappearance 35 years ago. And football Spygate scandal, Southampton tonight kicked out of this weekend's Championship playoff final. All that to come and much more on the UK Tonight. Well, we start tonight with a major development from the Epstein files. Surrey Police have confirmed that they are investigating two separate allegations of child sexual abuse dating from the mid-1980s to 2000. The potential crimes were revealed in documents from the US Justice Department's investigation into convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Well, I'm joined now by Olivia Guthrie. Olivia, this information coming from the files that were released some time ago now, but such was the enormous amount of files, journalists, lawyers still going through them. This information has come to light. What do we know?
Well, the truth is not a great deal. And as you say, we've had a lot of files that we've been searching through, and it's really important to say that today's allegations, it's not clear whether they are related to any of the existing allegations that we have looked at in the past in relation to the Epstein files. But Surrey Police have said that today they are investigating two separate allegations of non-recent historical child sexual abuse. The first relates to Surrey and Berkshire in the mid-1990s to 2000, and the second relates to West Surrey in the mid to late 1980s. No arrests have been made at this stage, but Surrey Police have issued a statement saying, "We take all reports of sexual offending seriously and will work to identify any reasonable lines of inquiry to verify information or establish corroborating evidence." Now, this, of course, follows the news that in December, Surrey Police said that they were made aware of redacted reports from the Jeffrey Epstein files that alleged non-recent human trafficking and sexual assaults on a minor in Virginia Water, Surrey, between 1994 and 1996. Now, in February, Surrey Police said that they had no evidence that those allegations had been made directly to them, and they urged anyone with any information about them to come forward. And then later in February, they issued a statement saying that they had had several reports as a result of that appeal and that they were reviewing those reports. Now, I must stress again that today's allegations, we don't know whether they're related to that Virginia Water allegation or whether they are entirely new claims, but they are the latest allegations as a result of the US Department of Justice's release of those Epstein files, which include those allegations of public misconduct in a public office that resulted in the arrests of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor and Peter Mandelson, both of whom deny any wrongdoing. Sarah-Jane.
Olivia, thank you very much, Olivia Guthrie, following that story for us this evening. Thank you. Now, the lawyer representing one of the women who says that she was raped during the filming of Married at First Sight UK has told the UK Tonight that she believes there are more victims still to come forward. We'll be hearing from Charlotte Proudman in just a moment, but first, Sky's Barnaby Papadopoulos takes a look at some of the questions for Channel 4, which broadcasts the reality TV series.
What is going on with Married at First Sight? Well, all of the episodes have been taken off Channel 4's website after two former participants alleged that they were raped by their on-screen husbands during filming. A third female participant has alleged that she was subject to a non-consensual sex act. Now, the men involved deny wrongdoing and the police aren't involved, but the government is calling for a full investigation and says that any wrongdoing, any criminality, should have consequences. But what questions are there for Channel 4 to answer? Well, there's a question about the welfare and safeguarding of participants. One of the women who was allegedly raped claimed that she told show staff about what had happened and her episodes were aired anyway. Lawyers for CPL, the production company that make Married at First Sight, have said that staff always acted appropriately when dealing with the allegations. And Channel 4 say they launched an external review as soon as they found out about them in April.
I've seen the accounts of the women present in the Panorama programme, and their distress is obvious. I've huge sympathy for them. The welfare of our contributors is always of paramount importance. I can address the BBC's claim that we failed in our duty of care to some of our contributors. I believe that wasn't the case, and based on what we knew at the time, we acted appropriately, quickly, and with sensitivity.
So Channel 4 say they did respond and are responding. But is there an even bigger question at the heart of this story? As a bit of television, it's had huge success. It's got millions of viewers. It's been sold to formats all over the world. It sees people who've never met before get married in legally non-binding ceremonies. They then go on holiday. They go and live together, all filmed for us to watch. But now people involved are making serious allegations about their time on the show. So perhaps the biggest question of all is whether a programme like this can ever really be safe.
Well, earlier today, I spoke to Dr. Charlotte Proudman, a barrister representing one of the women who is being called Lizzie to protect her identity. I started by asking Charlotte what Lizzie said had happened to her during filming.
So Lizzie says that she told CPL Productions, in particular, she told the welfare team, and I think there are real question marks around what the gold standard of support that they were apparently offering to contestants and what training and experience they had in the very complex dynamics of domestic abuse, because it seems to me they certainly lacked a full understanding into what Lizzie and other contestants had suffered by failing to intervene. I think one of the things that I find remarkable and indeed even inexplicable is that contestants, they don't have any access to the outside world. So Lizzie couldn't just pick up a phone and call her mum or call a friend or access any support network, use WhatsApp, even contact the police. Everything had to go through the production company. And that, in and of itself, could arguably be described as controlling in nature.
Yeah, because Lizzie is clear that she felt uncomfortable at the time, but it wasn't until she was out of that process, which is essentially a life-changing public social experiment put on TV screens for entertainment. She said that she didn't comprehend the seriousness of what had happened to her until she was out of that bubble, effectively, and that is why she is speaking out now.
Yes, I think that's very common with survivors of abuse. You don't necessarily acknowledge just how horrific the abuse you're being subjected to is at the time. It's the delayed onset of trauma after having escaped that abusive relationship. We know that Lizzie indeed was raped whilst on Married at First Sight, something that she did tell CPL Productions before all of the series had been aired. They dispute that, but Lizzie describes suffering egregious sexual violence. Now, notwithstanding what either party say, clearly there were signs of significant levels of harm that she was potentially sustaining, and they should have taken a zero-tolerance approach and ended that relationship and protected her and prioritised the safety of their contestants over and above entertainment.
The chair of the Culture, Media and Sport Committee has said this felt like an accident waiting to happen, given the nature of the show, as you've described there, intimacy for entertainment. That goes for all dating shows, really, doesn't it? Married at First Sight, seen as the most extreme, marrying a stranger. Can these kind of shows that encourage and expect intimacy for entertainment ever truly be safe, do you think?
I think that in the current cultural environment that we live in, where sexual violence is an endemic, we know that 1 in 4 women will suffer rape or sexual assault, 1 in 3 women will suffer domestic abuse. And in many ways, these dating reality TV shows are a microcosm of the society that we live in, except they are worse because of the high-pressured environment in the need to provide entertainment and titillation to viewers, and the fact that they are set up almost to fail in order to get clicks, likes and so forth. And when one looks at the vetting process in terms of how contestants are invited onto the show, and in particular why it is that individuals are paired up, one does wonder whether certain individuals who are more vulnerable, may have been victims in past relationships, are paired up with those who might engage in predatory behaviour or indeed have a history of criminality or such behaviours.
Charlotte, from what you've heard from Lizzie and from what you've seen from the testimony of these other women, do you feel that this is just the tip of the iceberg? Are you expecting more former participants of this show or other shows to come forward as a result?
Yes, I am. I mean, I'm certainly aware of other contestants on what I might describe as reality TV dating shows, having experienced hideous forms of abuse behind closed doors, and effectively that being allowed to continue without action being taken to protect them. So I suspect that we will see very many more women come forward. And I'm obviously deeply concerned about the fact that Channel 4 continued to air Married at First Sight until yesterday after the BBC Panorama documentary. So every time viewers were watching Lizzie, my client's relationship, unfold on screen, Lizzie knew that behind all of that was her eventually being raped. That, in my view, is deeply, deeply and profoundly concerning.
The Security Minister, Dan Jarvis, said, I would also say, given the very serious nature of these allegations, I think it's highly likely that there will be a referral to the police and it will be a police matter for them to investigate. Is that what Lizzie would like to see come from this?
Contestants, of course, have the option in terms of reporting matters to the police, but we must remember that very few women actually do report rape, domestic abuse, coercive and controlling behaviour to the police. And there's a reason for that. Often they feel that they're not taken seriously, they might experience re-victimisation, re-traumatisation in the process. And also, let's remember that Lizzie says that she suffered a very serious threat, that if she spoke out, then her spouse, as he was on Married at First Sight, would throw acid in her face. Now, for very many women, that is a real threat. Certainly it's something that I would be frightened of, and I'm sure many others. And so the idea of coming forward and facing repercussions of that nature, I think, is untenable.
From what I understand, there is a new series waiting in the wings, ready to be aired. Do you think there is a place for this TV series on our TV screens, given what we are starting to hear about? And as you said, this could just be the start of it.
No. Abusive relationships should never be available for entertainment value. And Married at First Sight, CPL production company and Channel 4 have shown that they're not fit for purpose in terms of providing protection, safeguarding and safety for women. We live in a society where women suffer extreme levels of male violence, and then to see this rolled out on prime-time TV for entertainment value is, frankly, deplorable.
Well, we approached the production company for a response. This is what they pointed us to. It's from Channel 4. This is their official statement. In April, Channel 4 was presented with serious allegations of wrongdoing against a small number of past contributors, allegations that we understand those contributors have denied. The channel is mindful of the privacy and continuing duty of care towards all contributors and cannot comment on or disclose details of those allegations. Related to those allegations, Channel 4 was asked to respond to claims of failures in welfare protocols. Channel 4 believes that when concerns related to contributor welfare were raised through existing welfare and production protocols, prompt and appropriate action was taken based on the information available at the time. Channel 4 strongly refutes any claim to the contrary. And in a statement issued earlier this evening, the Metropolitan Police has urged potential victims of sexual assault on reality TV show Married at First Sight UK to get in touch with them. They said they haven't received any criminal reports in relation to this matter, but have said we will be making approaches to the relevant production teams to ensure that anyone they have spoken to is aware of how to report any criminal allegations to police. Now, in other news, big breaking news in the last hour, Southampton Football Club kicked out of this weekend's Championship playoff final over allegations of spying. Well, they had been due to play the richest game in football against Hull City at Wembley on Saturday. The winners, of course, getting promoted to the Premier League, the ultimate prize. But it may not be theirs. David Garrido is here with the details. For those who are just learning about this story, give us the background. It comes with a very useful visual.
Yes, I mean, this is essentially what this all comes down to. This is a member of the Southampton staff. He's one of the analyst team, intern, in fact, who went to Middlesbrough's training ground and effectively was not just looking at, but recording their session.
Spying.
Essentially, yes, spying ahead of their playoff semi-final second leg. First leg had finished 0-0. Southampton then won the second leg by 2-1 in extra time. They went through to play Hull in this weekend's Championship playoff final. But there are rules in place that forbid this kind of thing. The rule specifically is EFL Regulation 127, which prohibits any club from observing or attempting to observe another club's training session within 72 hours of a scheduled match between the two clubs. Now, the thing was that he was caught, he was approached, he ran off, went to the golf club near the training ground, then changed his clothes, tried to escape after that. I mean, you cannot write this thing, can you? As a result, the EFL charged Southampton with breaches of these regulations, and an independent disciplinary commission has today expelled Southampton from the playoffs, meaning they will not take their place in the final, and it's Hull who will play Middlesbrough instead, the club who they beat in the semi-final.
As it stands at the moment, because we haven't yet had an official response from Southampton,
no.
And they can appeal. The time frame is short because the game is on Saturday. So what could unfold over the coming days? OK,
so as it stands, Southampton expelled from the playoffs, Middlesbrough reinstated into the playoff final. But Southampton also, by the way, will receive a 4-point deduction for the start of next season in the Championship. So right now, this is terrible for them. But they can appeal, and what the EFL have said is that they have a right to appeal this Commission's decision in accordance with the EFL regulations, and the parties are trying to resolve any appeal on Wednesday, the 20th of May. That's tomorrow. And subject to the outcome, it could result in a further change to Saturday's fixture. So here we are on Tuesday. Wednesday is when any appeal is heard. Now, if that appeal from Southampton, if they choose to appeal, is successful, then that would change it again. But right now, Middlesbrough are there, waiting in the wings, expecting to play this game against Hull on Saturday.
Hull's just sitting back with popcorn.
Right, exactly. It's the popcorn meme, isn't it? I mean, this is absolutely extraordinary, especially when you think of what is at stake. And by the way, one other little detail to tell you is that Southampton actually admitted these breaches, but not just for this one game. Also, ahead of fixtures against Oxford United in December 2025 and Ipswich Town in April 2026. This came as a result of this hearing of the Independent Disciplinary Commission exploring the story. So they are, effectively saying, yes, you're right, Gov, but they might still appeal. On what grounds, I don't know. But as it stands, it is Hull against Middlesbrough, and it is the most lucrative game in club football because the winners of the playoff final in the Championship to go up to the Premier League, when everything is taken into account, estimates are between 150 and 200 million pounds as to what this one-off game is worth. So, I mean, this is... To call it high drama is kind of, putting it mildly,
almost
really,
lends itself to some kind of TV series. Are we sure Southampton aren't being filmed behind the scenes?
Well, it'd be them filming this, filming
There's a lot
us.
of filming going on. Some of it may be sanctioned, some isn't.
Yeah.
Middlesbrough, though, beaten over those two legs by Southampton, now find themselves in a position of trying to get ready for a final on Saturday.
Yes, that's right.
Put me in that camp.
Well, right. I mean, but I think that they will have been primed to know that this could happen.
Because this has been rumbling on.
This has been rumbling on. And also, just to give a bit of context, before this case, there had been a previous Spygate, and it was between Leeds and Derby County when Marcelo Bielsa was in charge of Leeds. The thing is that the only regulation that stood at that point was about clubs acting towards each other with the utmost good faith. And they were seen to have fallen short of that. But it was a £200,000 fine. There was no other sanction for Leeds to suffer on that occasion. But as a result of that, they added this extra regulation, which Southampton have clearly broken. So there was that precedent, and this is an even clearer breach. But Middlesbrough, I think, will have been just trying to prepare themselves for every eventuality as best they could. The players could have been, off on holiday. But as it stands, training, preparing for, reinstatement into this Championship playoff final. I mean, as I say, you couldn't write this stuff. It's absolutely astonishing.
What drama, and the final hasn't even kicked off yet.
Yeah.
David, thank you. You'll be back with a look at more sports news. There's so much going on today, so we'll get you back later on in the programme. Going to take a quick break, still to come. I'm going to speak to the mother of Ben Needham, the UK's longest-running missing persons case. She'll give us her reaction to the news today that South Yorkshire Police will no longer be investigating his disappearance. It happened on the island of Cos 35 years ago. Also ahead, why HS2 won't be as high speed as we were promised, and the King and Queen get into the beat in Belfast. What's the best thing about being a Sky News presenter? Perfect. Let's bring you some breaking news. Being a Sky News presenter. I began by asking...
Thank you so much.
...trusting us to tell her story. The battle for number 10. Sky News has been given exclusive access. Let me give you a sneak peek. It was the day those present would never forget. Why did you decide to open up and tell your story? The HS2 railway line from London to Birmingham is going to take longer to deliver. The trains will travel more slowly and it will cost a lot more money to finish. With details on all of that, here's our business correspondent, Paul Kelso.
This particular size and shape, we call it the caterpillar box.
Wow, that is an enormous hole.
One conveyor belt, whole length.
5.5k long, 6k long. Yeah.
7k by the time it gets to there.
The government says HS2 is now going to cost more than £100 billion. You want to know how you spend that much money on a railway? Let's go and have a look and find out. Thank you. This is the Victoria Road crossover box. It's at the heart of a 13-kilometre tunnel under West London. That way is Birmingham. This way is Euston, and eventually HS2 trains will fly over points here in either direction. Now, they were supposed to be heading through these tunnels by Christmas this year. Now it won't be for another decade at the earliest, and they won't get to Euston until possibly the 2040s. Meanwhile, the budget has soared, and the only thing slowing down is the trains. Now, this is unquestionably monumental construction, but how has it come to be, in the eyes of so many, a monumental waste of money? HS2 was originally supposed to cost £33 billion. So far, £43 billion has been spent. The government now says it could cost more than £100 billion. That'll make it the most expensive high-speed railway line on Earth, and it won't even go to its original destination. It was meant to run to both Manchester and Leeds, but those have both been cut back because of cost, leaving just a single line to Birmingham. It will first stop at Old Oak Common in this direction before eventually a tunnel will take it all the way to Euston in central London, possibly as late as 2043. These tunnels were built yard by yard with layer upon layer of concrete. The problem with HS2 is less the concrete than the fact, in the jargon, it was gold-plated, designed to the highest specification for the world's fastest trains. That meant not cutting corners, but eliminating them and going in straight lines. Well, that costs more money. The risks of the project weren't properly understood. Designs kept changing and there was constant political pressure. And eventually, HS2 Limited, contractors and the government lost control.
I can confirm today that it could cost almost as much to cancel the line as it would to finish it, while delivering none of the benefits.
So what is this government going to do about it? Well, they won't be cancelling HS2, putting things back as they were. Well, that would cost as much as has been spent already. The trains will be slowed down to 320 kilometres an hour, the same as a Japanese bullet train. That saves a couple of £1 billion. Some back office roles are being cut, and the people who delivered the Elizabeth line are now in charge. There's no question, when this is eventually finished, it will be a world-class railway. But the journey to get here, well, that's been a national embarrassment, and fixing that matters. From energy to data centres, from airports to our water network, Britain needs infrastructure projects that work. If HS2's got a legacy, it might be a very, very expensive lesson in how and how not to do it.
Still to come on the UK Tonight, we'll hear from Ben Needham's mother about the search for her son, who went missing on the Greek island of Kos 35 years ago.
This is how you travel when the mafia wants to kill you.
He's almost given up his own freedom, but that's the price he's willing to pay.
Here, they don't just arrest and Ndrangheta mafia members, they also live among them.
Time after time, I've seen the devastating impact of extreme weather and climate change.
We don't have much snow at the moment.
They've had a warm spring and exceptionally hot summer, and that means they're expecting to lose more than 3 times the amount of ice than they usually do.
Flames are still forcing people from their homes and leaving many questioning their futures.
Here was my life. We have nothing. I can't say anything, it's so sad.
This disaster is testing the resolve of everyone on this island.
The only way out now is by boat.
Everything you see is devastated, and the misery being felt by people living here is repeated in towns and villages across Central Europe. Sky News, get the full story first.
Turkey is burying its dead. The loss is profound.
Whole families died in this collapse, generations wiped out. The violence has penetrated the heart of the city rather than being contained to the estates around the edge, and that speaks to the level of anger being felt here.
In Sweden, police have seized a lethal stash. This is just a small sample of the deadly arsenal taken off the streets.
This is an example of an advert, really. Anyone of any age could say, I'll do that for £1 million, and then have to go and shoot someone.
Yes.
I'm Siobhan Robbins, Sky's Europe correspondent based here in Berlin.
We've got your Sunday mornings covered. From the front page and the sounds of the streets to the voices of the people who make the major calls and big picture politics beyond Westminster. We'll put you at the heart of our story.
I'm ready. Are you?
Join me, Trevor Phillips, Sunday mornings on Sky News.
The mother of a toddler who went missing in Greece 35 years ago says she is heartbroken that South Yorkshire Police's Major Crimes Unit will no longer be responsible for investigating his disappearance. Ben Needham was staying at his grandparents' farmhouse on the island of Cos when he simply vanished in July 1991. His family have been searching for answers ever since. And Kerry, Ben's mother, joins me now. Kerry, thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. Ben's case, known to so many people, it's the UK's longest running missing persons case, and that picture we just showed of him, so familiar to those watching this evening. Can you just talk to me about your reaction when you got this news from your local police force?
My reaction initially was just total shock. I had a video call with my family liaison officer, and she explained the circumstances to me and what was going to happen. She wanted to give me a little bit of time to process that information before I had a meeting with the SIO, the Senior Investigating Officer of Ben's case, to discuss what would happen from now on. And I just horrified. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I really couldn't.
What were the circumstances that they felt meant that they could no longer investigate Ben's disappearance? What were the reasons they gave you?
I believe I haven't had any specific reasons laid out to me, you know, firsthand. But I believe that it is down to finances, resources and time that cannot just be, it can't be allocated anymore from the Major Crimes Unit. Whether that's because, you know, South Yorkshire Police still stand by their theory, you know, that an accident occurred and Ben died as a result of that. Whilst I fully respect that conclusion, there is no proof to prove that. And this is what I believe my SIO wanted to do, you know, follow as many lines of inquiry as absolutely possible to prove or disprove that this happened. You know, we had plans to meet with the public prosecutor on course to try and move the case forward and work together as a team. But unfortunately, that's not going to happen now.
Yeah, as you said, Kerry, you were literally in the middle of working closely with the Senior Investigating Officer on Ben's case about pursuing other lines of inquiry. Can you talk to me about what they were? Because 35 years on, you still feel that there are avenues to explore, some of which were not explored or investigated properly in the first place.
There are lots of inconsistencies with people's statements given at the time, and also statements that were given after Ben had disappeared. We wanted to bring as many of those people back in for questioning, not interrogation, just ask them, you know, if they have anything further to add, and, you know, kind of try and elaborate on the information that they gave in the first place. Time's really critical now because these people are getting older, and if anything happens to them, whatever they know is going to be buried with them. There's the witness that came forward to South Yorkshire Police, which warranted the dig in 2016. We believe that he needs to be re-questioned. There's inconsistencies in his statements. The police officers that were in charge of the investigation in 1991, they have never been spoken to by South Yorkshire Police. We wanted to, you know, speak with the Greek prosecutor, because he is in charge of the police, and ask if that would be possible. They may hold vital information, you know, that could assist South Yorkshire Police and move this case forward. There were so many things that we wanted to do to try and get the answers that myself and my family deserve.
Kerry, what do you do now? Because the investigation what may continue of an investigation is now basically in the hands of the local police on the island of Cos. How much faith do you have in them? Because I know that, you know, you were just 19, you were a young mother when this happened, and I know you've spoken about the treatment you had in those initial days when Ben went missing at the hands of the police, and, you know, you don't feel that they are the right ones to keep this going. Talk to me about how you feel about it being now essentially only in their hands.
Well, obviously, I haven't had the chance yet to meet any police officers or, you know, new police officers on Cos or the public prosecutor at the moment. I can only go on my experience with the Greek police throughout the years, and without me sounding too critical about them, but, you know, not a lot was done in 1991 by the Greek police, and it doesn't give me much faith. But I was hoping, you know, with my SIO that we could try and build relationships between, excuse me, between the Greek police and South Yorkshire Police and myself, and work together as a team to make sure that every line of inquiry, every outstanding lead, every you know, piece of information that I receive or South Yorkshire Police receives gets a warranted investigation and thorough to the end. This is something I've never had from the Greek police. So why does South Yorkshire Police think that this is going to happen now? It never has done in the past.
Kerry, it's been 35 years and so many people watching this interview tonight and myself conducting the interview. Just want to know how you've kept going all this time. You've had no answers. It's still a complete mystery what happened to your 21-month-old little blonde-haired, gorgeous boy. And I just want to get an insight into just how you are continuing this fight, because it's remarkable, Kerry.
The sheer love for my child and the determination that someone cannot be allowed to get away with this. If it happens to someone else, what chance have they got? I sit here and stand here as a mother who has lost their child. This could happen to anyone. And you need to be strong, and I need to be strong to make sure that things are put in place so anyone can get the help that they need and they deserve. I want justice. No one's ever going to go to prison for this. It's statute barred in Greece, but I want to know where my son is. I want to know what happened to him, and someone knows exactly what happened to him. And I need more resources, not resources taken away from me. I have never being disrespectful to the government or South Yorkshire Police, but it's enough now. You can't keep taking everything away from me. Ben deserves more, not less. And this is what I want from now on. And I will go and I will fight whoever I need to fight, because I am not letting this go.
Kerry, thank you so much for your time this evening. And like you said, you haven't yet had a chance to sit down face to face with South Yorkshire Police for them to talk you through why they have taken this decision. I really hope to speak to you after you have spoken to them, because as you said, for you, this is nowhere near over. It wasn't investigated properly for you at the time in the beginning.
Yeah.
And it deserves to continue. So, Kerry, I thank you for that.
Thank you.
And we will speak again. Kerry Needham, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Kerry Needham there, the mother of Ben Needham, as I said, the UK's longest running missing persons case, 35 years. This little boy on your screen has been missing for. In a statement, South Yorkshire Police have told us this: the Greek investigation is open and we believe it will remain open until a conclusion is reached. Our involvement in support of the investigation hasn't changed. We remain committed to supporting Ben's family and the investigation, and fully appreciate the distress and trauma the family have been through and continue to go through. Well, a huge thank you to Kerry for doing that interview. That wasn't easy. Now, the King and Queen have begun a 3-day visit to Northern Ireland. Charles and Camilla enjoying some traditional Irish music and paying a visit to one of Belfast's most diverse schools in what is being seen as a show of support for a community that has been a target for racists and bigots. Sky's Stephen Murphy has this next report.
Belfast putting on a song and dance Irish trad style for the King and Queen. But this is a royal visit taking place against a backdrop of increased dissident Republican activity and heightened racial tensions. Security is always tight for these visits, but this one takes place just a few weeks after the new IRA detonated a bomb outside a police station just outside Belfast. This body cam footage shows how police officers narrowly escaped death. There was another attempted bomb attack by the same group in March. The threat level here remains substantial. The Queen visited one of the most ethnically diverse schools in Belfast.
Hi, Queen. Bye.
90% of the children from Fane Street Primary School are from countries outside the UK.
I feel like our school is important, and we are special from other schools.
She was nice. It was so fun, and I touched her hand, and I hugged her.
It was good and nice. I like her.
We are diverse for a number of reasons. We would have Queen's students here. We would have a number of asylum seekers and refugees. We do quite a lot of family support because these families need the support and it's not available anywhere else.
This at a time when, according to police just last week, the number of race hate crimes in Northern Ireland are at their highest level since records began in 2004. Hundreds of those incidents were recorded during racially motivated rioting in the town of Ballymena last summer.
They would be quite fearful, and most of these families have come here for a better life for them and their families, and they don't mean anyone any harm, and it's just very difficult for them.
This leg of the visit, a sign of royal support for a changing Northern Ireland and for those experiencing their own challenges fitting into what is a post-conflict society. Stephen Murphy, Sky News, in Belfast.
Still to come here on the UK Tonight. Steve Clarke names his Scotland squad for their first World Cup since 1998. Is it good enough to take home the trophy? We'll be discussing that next.
This program is delivered by DHL, the official logistics partner of VSL.
Welcome to the DHL Sports Hub on Sky News. Coming up, we'll hear from Yannick Sinner after he becomes just the second player to win all 9 men's tennis Masters titles with a record-extending victory at the Italian Open. And there's reaction too from the PGA Championship after Aaron Rai becomes the first English winner of the year's second golf major in more than a century. But we start with Formula One and the World Championship leader Kimi Antonelli, who has paid tribute to the way Mercedes have protected him as he looks to mount a serious challenge for his first title. Despite still being just 19, he became the first driver to convert their first 3 Grand Prix poles into wins last time out in Miami to extend his advantage over his teammate George Russell.
I'm gonna stay grounded and gonna keep pushing because I have such a strong teammate and competitors are gonna get closer, so we gotta keep raising that bar in order to always be able to excel. It's a great thing to be leader, but I would like to stay leader up until the end of the year. That's the goal.
As you say, it's a long season, so we're taking it step by step. Would you say that you have more pressure on your shoulders from Italy, or do you feel that you carry more pressure of the Mercedes team, like to make everyone proud?
I would say maybe from Italy, but at the same time, with Mercedes, there's such a great environment in the team, and that's really helpful. And it also helps to, once you go on track, to really try to do your best because they've been supporting me, and they're also trying to protect me as well. We know the potential is very high and that we can achieve great things together in the future, but it's very important not to get carried away from this thing, and that's why they're trying to protect me as much as possible.
Well, Antonelli's not the only one of last year's rookies to be impressing this season. Franco Colapinto claimed his best ever Grand Prix finish as he came 7th in Florida and is hopeful it kick-starts his Alpine career after he scored just 7 points in 2025.
You're already in the points so far earlier in the season. It's been coming, and this can be the start of something, a points run.
Yeah, definitely, I'm sure, and I'm sure it will be. It's since a long time we're trying to find this performance and trying to understand why we're lacking that pace. And this weekend felt very strong, very maximized, very efficient at every point, and that we made the most out of it in each session. So I feel very happy and very proud of the team, of myself, because I do feel that it's been a very an excellent weekend.
Well, Colapinto's just outside the top 10 in 11th, 3 points behind Liam Lawson. Antonelli's lead over Russell is up to 20 points heading into Canada this weekend, with Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton both looking to challenge Charles Leclerc in 3rd, 8 points ahead of them. Norris had his best weekend of the season yet in Miami, the world champion adding his first DHL fastest lap of the campaign to his sprint win as he claimed 2nd behind Antonelli in the main race. It was Arvid Lindblad in his Racing Bull who took the DHL fastest pit stop with a time of 2.08 seconds. Antonelli was 2nd, meaning Mercedes are 3 points behind Ferrari there. And Max Verstappen, who sits 7th overall, was driver of the day presented by Salesforce, despite dropping from 2nd on the grid to 5th. A good recovery after a 360-degree spin on the opening lap, keeping him in the points. Well, yet to make their mark are F1's newcomers Cadillac, whose drivers Valtteri Bottas and Sergio Perez are still to score. A 13th place finish for Bottas in China stands as their best result yet, and after the American team's first outing on home soil in Miami, there's optimism that they can improve over time.
It's our 4th race, and the progression from Melbourne to this, the team just continues to gel and, form right before our eyes. We brought upgrades, the performance is there. Just like yesterday, there are gremlins that come out, to be expected for a first-year team. But that upward progression is there. The performance, continues to improve. And, we're setting our sights on midfield as we keep climbing the ladder.
On to golf, and a moment of history at the PGA Championship on Sunday as Aaron Rai overcame a 2-shot deficit on the final day to win his maiden major title, becoming the first English player to lift the Wanamaker Trophy in over a century. Well, Rai carded an impressive final round of 65, including a 70-foot putt for par on the 17th hole to take victory by 3 shots. The 31-year-old is the tournament's first English champion since Jim Barnes' 2nd PGA title in 1919 and described his first major success as a dream come true.
You realise once you turn professional how many levels of professional golf there are and how hard it is to even get into into these tournaments and compete in majors. So it's phenomenal to think of how many things have gone into it, and extremely rewarding to be stood here at the end of this week.
Did your dreams ever get this big, Aaron, as a kid?
I would have loved to have won a major at some point, but it's very much a dream at that age. This truly is a dream come true.
These guys weave their magic. They're different. A lot of players like a Rory McIlroy, even though he hit a lot of three-woods, Rory, they luck it a bit. You pull the chief out and crank it down there, but you are going to come undone against someone who's a tactician, hits it up the fairway, hits it on the green and holds the odd putt and never gets out of position, and who's like someone who hasn't really got a heartbeat. He walks around and does his own business, you know, doesn't show any emotion, but he's an awesome player. He'd be a great addition to your Ryder Cup team next year in Ireland.
The Premier League continues this evening with Manchester City looking to keep their title hopes going at Bournemouth. And if they go on to become champions, they'll complete a domestic treble for the second time in 7 years. That's after a brilliant back-heel flick from Antoine Semenyo 18 minutes from the end gave them the FA Cup for the 8th time in their history at the weekend as they defeated Chelsea 1-0 at Wembley. It follows their EFL Cup success against Arsenal earlier in the season and takes Pep Guardiola up to 20 trophies with the club.
The game started really good. I think we make a 30-35 minutes really good, arriving the final pass, the final decision was not good, and after they were better in the second half. Even we have the first chance clear with Antoine, they were better. The moment the game was for them. They were more aggressive, they pushed us a lot of corners and this type of position. And after we found the goal, that game is that. So we found the goal, and after we were better, of course they have a chance with the throw-in, but and after when they changed the 5-4, even they put more players there, we found better our wingers, our pockets, and our transitions. That happened many times this season. The final pass, the final moment, we were not clever, we were not good enough, we could finish it. But yeah, really pleased. This trophy is really cool, really special for the tradition, and after 2 defeats, so back to Manchester is nice.
Now, 8 years after Novak Djokovic was the first to do it, Jannik Sinner has become the second men's tennis player to complete a golden slam of the 9 Masters titles. He did it at his home Italian Open, beating Casper Ruud 6-4, 6-4 in the final. The result, which stretches Sinner's streak of victories to 29 matches, means he's also on a record-extending run of 34 Masters wins. He's the first Italian to take the men's title in Rome since Adriano Panatta in 1976, and is on a run of 17 wins without loss on clay this year, heading into the French Open, which he'll look to win for the first time to complete a full set of Grand Slams too.
I think this year was the 50th year since an Italian won, and really happy. A lot of tension, you know, on both sides, and was not perfect tennis from both of us, but I'm really happy. Incredible last 2.5 months. Yeah, I try to put myself in the best possible position every time, trying to do the best I can, and not every day is simple, but I'm really happy.
In the women's final, Elina Svitolina completed a career hat-trick of titles at the Italian Open, beating world number 4 Coco Gauff in the decider. The Ukrainian had already seen off world number 2 Elina Rybakina and number 3 Iga Swiatek in previous rounds, on her way to her 20th career title.
Very hard to believe that it's been 8 years when I had this trophy here, and very pleased, of course, with the week here, 2 weeks here. I had a tough loss in the final in Dubai this year, and my 19 title, and I was aiming for 20th. I told my coach that it would be nice before I finish my career to have a round number, so he told me that hopefully we're gonna get this year. So thank you so much, guys, for putting so much hard work, and I'm very happy to hold this trophy with you.
This program is delivered by DHL, the official logistics partner of VSL.